he's a professor of sustainable tourism at Fudan University in China. His research focuses on sustainable tourism and World Heritage sites, emphasizing sustainable development and stakeholder collaboration. So we are close nearby, Elena. Since May 2020, he has served as the UNESCO chair on sustainable tourism in UNESCO designated sites. Another UNESCO chair. Taylor, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for waiting so long.
Thank you. I'm so happy to see so many familiar faces and good friends and old friends. And as you said, that right now it's almost the second day of the conference. Usually not many people here. I'm so happy to see so many people still here to waiting for my presentation. Okay. I'd like to share some cases about sustainable tourism in China. So, okay, okay, can you see me? Okay, so today my presentation is just about tell something about how World Heritage Sites to take some innovation to meet the challenges in the World Heritage tourism sites. So usually, as we say in China, we have a lot of challenges with regarding to the World Heritage conservation and sustainable tourism development. And the first and the most important, the problem that we have a vast population in China, but also if we have so big population and they are becoming very old very rapidly, and this will make the tourism market becomes much more difficult, much more different with other country. For example, you can see in the last several 100,000 years, in the last 100 years, the population of Chinese increase incredibly. But now you can see the old generation of Chinese, it becomes more and more in China. The percentage of old people, maybe in next 10 years, will arrive at more than 25%. So what that means for tourism development. So last year when I visited the tourism destination, especially in World Cultural Sites in China, so the manager will talk with me about this challenge because the policy of China's tourism industry. So the old people above 60s are free to go to any World Cultural Sites or any tourism attractions. And also the government has kind of financial support of this kind of tourist. So you can find a lot of old people in the tourism destination. And also because we have a big population, the mass tourist in China is uh, incredibly huge. You can say not of very crowded tourist destination. And we have similarly another challenge for tourism development in China because right now we have more and more strict conservation policy in China. There are numbers of landscape conservation and cultural conservation policy, the so-called red line policy. So you can see this is a map between around Beijing. All this kind of red area, it should be very, very strictly conserved. That's called a red line. It means that anywhere is under red line, so there could not be any human development or utilization, even tourist. But some of them, just for tourists for visit there, will have some kind of small number of tourists to visit this place. So if that's the case, so the challenge between tourism and the conservation becomes very complicated, very intensive. And probably you can know that a lot of China's cultural heritage sites have another challenge that we are both culture, nature, and kind of intensely linked. For example, this is Mountain Taishan, which was a very famous cultural heritage site in China. But most of the time, you can say this is kind of a human inscription there on the mountain. And you can see almost all the mountains, we have buildings on top of the mountain. Because according to the Chinese culture, normally the temples and history buildings were built on the top of the mountain. You can see this is Mountain Taishan. You can see this is the Great Wall. So you can, it's most of the cultural heritage are a mixture of nature and culture. So it could be very crowded of mass tourists. You can see this Great Wall, and also it could be kind of this kind of number of tourists. So the challenge for us, how can we transform this kind of mass tourist destination into a new model of tourist destination, which means that less tourists, not so many tourists make the tourist destination so crowded. And you can see also a lot of mountains are the kind of temples and mosques. So this is a challenge for our tourism development in World Heritage Sites or some other kind of conservation place. So if that's the case, we have to innovate. But the challenge is that because tourism industry, there is no kind of patent conservation. So if you innovate some kind of a new model, it will be very easily be imitated. So there is no motivation for the innovators to build kind of new models or new kind of new products. So who will be the innovator and what's the benefits of innovation? Due to the lack of patent protection, how can the interest of the innovators be reduced? So today I will share some cases from different level. The first level is innovation at the individual level, and then innovation at community level and corporate level. So the first case is a World Natural Heritage Site in Hunan province, which is here, is in the south mid of China. This is the typical landscape. And for the past 3 decades, it becomes a very, very famous place in China, and especially for the mass tourist. And right now, there are about more than 20% tourists are from South Korea and Southeast Asia. It's very, very crowded, but just for sightseeing tourists, just go there and stay, take photos and stay there for the 1 night or two nights to see the kind of landscape. But right now, because the local government are trying to promote kind of new model of tourism, make not so many tourists just rush into the World Natural Heritage Sites in the core area. So we try to develop kind of new tourist products, such as cycling. It's just outside of the landscape. So right now, it is successfully made this happen. And also, they create some new kinds of tourists, such kinds of hiking. It's also not in the core area of World Natural Heritage Sites. So this is a new model of tourism development, not just like mass tourism, but how does it happen? What the government has done, or what kind of tourism product have the local people do? So my research showed that actually it has passed 3 stages of experience. The first stage is around in 2002 and 2005. At that stage, one of the local guys who is a university student in Beijing, he watched the Japanese who as adventure tourist in the Great Wall. So after he returned to his hometown, Zhangjiajie, he began to develop kind of adventure tourist. At that time, he just want to do the adventure tourism. So he used kind of the snail club, establish a club to call for participants to travel with him together to explore some kind of caves in the Zhangjiajie place. At the same time, he organized a team to search for the places of exploration, and also he opened a website to introduce the knowledge of outdoor sports and explore the activities. And also he himself run the hostel of outdoor sports, because more and more people come together to kind of adventure tours with himself, and his business of the hostel becomes better. So in this way, he attract more and more outdoor sports tourists or adventure tourists to come together with him, and his business of hostel becomes better and better. So in this way, he developed the adventure tourist, and also he get the benefit from the business model of youth hostel focused on the adventure tourist. And the second stage is about cycling tourist. At that time, another guy who has been the partner of this adventure tourist, he found that more and more people like cycling, especially in the big cities. So he found a club. It's a cycling club, and also he imitate the first guy who run the explore adventure tourist the club. He will run with a social media group, a QQ group, attract more and more participants. In this way, he shared information and told them how to cycle around the mountain area. So more and more cyclists just follow them to cycle around this area. And at that time, he sold the bicycle and equipment at the same time. In this way, he get the benefit from the the bicycle selling and also the equipment selling, but he tried to share the knowledge and the skill to the cyclist in at the local place. And after that time, because cycling becomes much more crowded at that time, so another guy tried to innovate another kind of tourist product called hiking or outdoor sports. At that time, she also kind of fond of this like this. Okay, just like one people and from another, and the kind of build a link with social networks or social medias. In this way, he built a kind of tourist network. In this way, more and more tourists become this kind of model. So in this way, so we can find that the knowledge spillover process, the leader of the knowledge owner plays a very important role, because at the early stage, this remote area, nobody knows about the knowledge of cycling or adventure tourism or even hiking, because it needs kind of a skill, needs kind of a special knowledge. But the pioneers who do this to promote this kind of niche market tourism, he is a pioneer. And at that time, so he built their own business model. For example, the first guy built a used car store. The second guy built kind of bicycle selling. The third guy built kind of hiking equipment or hiking kind of clothes like this. So he got this kind of business model to encourage them to innovate the new tourism product in this place. So and try to attract more and more people to travel with them, to build this kind of market, to attract more and mass tourists to transfer to this kind of unique market. And there is another case is also world exercise in China. This place is famous for this kind of, for this kind of shaped rocks. So it's famous in China. A lot of tourists that go there to take photos for these two rocks. But for the reason, people just go there, stay maybe half a day, just take photos and can go away. Left a lot of rubbish in the local community. Local community cannot benefit from tourism. So after that, with our university support, we think that more and more young people just learn about the landform, about the biology like this, or organize our students to produce kind of a study tour in this area, the mountain Danxia. And also we encourage local people to use the traditional livelihoods as their tourism products. For example, the local people just try the beekeeping and also herb planting or the rural cuisine course and also the kind of handicrafts. We'll ask local people to to use this kind of livelihood as a tourism product to teach young children, teach students, let them understand the traditional way of their life. So more and more local people become kind of tutors or was guide of the kind of study tour. So more and more people just to use their traditional livelihood as a tourism product. So more and more local people recognize that even because of heritage conservation, the traditional livelihood still could be kind of a tourism product and make them benefited. So you can see they're trying those kind of products. And also more and more local people organize together, learn from each other, and also they invite our professors to teach them how to make this kind of a traditional livelihood to be kind of tourism products. In this way, the innovative use of local knowledge can transform it into a livelihood capital for community residents, and it can also serve as a tool for managers to engage in the community governance. And also, I work with my team to this kind of products in Tibetan area, which is also the giant panda place. It's what have called natural heritage. The local people's kind of crafts working. It could be kind of tourism products or attract a lot of tourists. So we organize the kind of workshops to make local people benefit from this kind of activities, because normally the young people of the local place can serve as tourism industry people. The old men there just stay at home, because this kind of handicraft is very time consuming. So nobody want to do this, but it cannot make money for the older people. So with our help, we help the local people, older people to do this kind of handicraft making, and with our student help, they can just live issue on the social media to attract some tourists and also help them to selling their handicrafts, make their profitable. In this way, they are more willing to conserve their traditional culture. So in this way, we help them, local people, to do this. And also we do the beekeeping kind of products and also kind of study tour in the world natural heritage sites. In this way, make local people benefit from this kind of activity. For example, this guy and this guy is local people. Right now, he can earn money from this kind of traditional livelihood show. And also, we organize the tour, study tour, let the young people have a meal in the local people's home, and the local people will help the local people, will teach them to do the traditional cuisine, then get the money from this kind of study tour. So this is the community level. Another case from the also an national forest park in South China. So this is a place about 30 years ago, no tourists there, but there is a tourism product hunting. So local people are trying to organize a hunting tour, but the hunting business is failed because of not many people really like hunting in China. But this happened to this house becomes popular. So because this is owner of the house is from Malaysia, this kind of house not actually is not a typical local style, but it looks like a European style for local tourists. So more and more people just imitate it for this kind of house and build this kind of luxury house to hotel like this. So this kind of imitation, more and more people build this kind of hotel. You can see in different year, the build different kind of hotels around these places. Just kind of imitation become more and more this kind of hotel just gathering there. So actually, this in this process, why did happen? Why so many corporate imitated the kind of hostel and try to build it in a more ecologically? Just because the local people just like to follow the examples of successful pioneering business. Locals will learn from those examples and they will try to imitate their business model. So test the knowledge spill over in the region over extended time period will result in a firm clustering within desolation. And it leads to desolation transformation because more and more firms gathering together, it will make the relation upgraded in a kind of a new model of hostel. In this process, the government try to showcase innovators as a benchmark examples. So the government make this the first one who innovate this business model as a best example or best practice. Because of the government make this is the best practice, so more and more people will just come here to learn from them, to have a kind of survey for the kind of business model. So in this way, this help the local innovators to get more business chance to help them to start their business in the early stage. So in this way, more and more imitators coming together, make the whole desolation transformed into another state of sustainable tourism. So my conclusion that we are facing the area of transformation where both the micro and macro environments are undergoing tremendous changes. To drive into innovative transformation, the key is to support and nurture innovators and to ignite their passion for innovation. Since the tourism service industry lack patent protection, we must provide timely innovation subsidies to innovators, whether through the promotion of benchmark cases, the innovation of business models, or spiritual encouragement for individual innovators. These pioneers are crucial to our innovation-driven transformation into sustainable development. So this is my presentation. And lastly, I want to share with you some information about the two conference and one conference in the end of November in China. We have a UNESCO conference in China, Zhuhai, and it's also Macau. It's organized by Ulitrin with Maria. You can just go to the website. And also we organize a special issue about in the Journal of Heritage Tourism about critical heritage studies perspective. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Zhang. This was really, really interesting and absolutely in line with the discussions we had yesterday evening and this morning. So even if we did not plan it in an exact way, at the end it was a perfect fit between the single presentations. So we could eventually give the opportunity to make a question to Professor Zhang. Is there someone who likes to make a question? I found the results very, very, and the approach very, very interesting to focus on smaller groups and to encourage innovation and create a kind of, or accelerate innovation spillover based on tacit knowledge, which leads to, as Professor Zhang told us, to destination transformation. Wolfgang?
Good afternoon, Taylor. This is Wolfgang Art speaking.
Yeah, good
Hi.
afternoon.
So thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. We have been discussing here, of course, carrying capacities. And as we all know, in China, there are a lot of tourists, a lot of people. So when we say we reduce the number of people moving around, so how to select them? You know, there in the discussion, people say, well, raise the cost. Others say have a lottery, or so how, what from the Chinese position, the Chinese situation. So what do you think? How is it possible to reduce the number when there are tens of thousands of people who want to do these activities, but the carrying capacity is limiting? If you want to have this innovative kind of tourism, is limiting the number of people who can participate.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, it's really a very good question. And also, I have reiterated with some international colleagues times. First, I don't think the carrying capacity is really a workable tool for tourism management because, according to my research, the number of tourists is not the big challenge. The challenge is the management strategy. Because my research showed that a destination with good management or without good management, the number of tourist impact will be totally different. A destination with very good management, the current capacity will be very high. A destination without a very good management, the number of tourists will be lower, much more lower. For example, if there is a park without good management, maybe 1,000 people is very bad. It's called a serious negative impact. But if you manage very well, it could be without any negative impact. Last time I discussed with UNWTO Dr. Dirk yesterday the presentation. I discussed with Dr. Ingredient. He totally agree with me that we need very good management. But the problem is usually we just tell them the number, oh, the number is too big. So tell the number is very simple. It's easy way for the managers to, okay, too many people or expect all of them out of our park. But the challenge is China is a country with a very big population, and also we have a limited number of tourism attractions compared with big population. So we cannot expel the tourists out of the site. So the first and most important, we increase the management ability. And the second way is that just what I talked about. We try to establish a niche market, new tourism product such as cycling or hiking or backpackers like this. This kind of tourism product can be developed around this kind of tourism destination, not just focused on this kind of hot destinations. Why Chinese tourists just go to this kind of hot destination? Just because that they are not so experienced, so have no idea where to go. You can say, wow, you have already so many tourists. Yes, we already have a very, very big number of tourists who are very experienced, but we have much more big number of tourists which are not experienced. For example, when I talk with tourists in Zhang, he told me we just developed 30 years. If every year we get about 5 million people, right now, we just have, maybe how many people? We still have maybe 80% of Chinese haven't been there. 80% of Chinese have not been there. So we still have a lot of market. So we no worry about the market, even with no worry about the quality. So that's why a lot of Chinese destination managers does not carry about the quality of management, because I think, well, don't worry about quality, because anyway we have market, because quality of landscape is very good. So that's my answer. Maybe the first is good management. The second is we try to encourage the pioneers to develop niche market tourism products. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. So we have another two short questions, and please, Taylor, since we do not have that much time, very short answers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhang. I'm also from China. So actually, my question regarding to what you shared about the Tibetan peoples. You are helping them to promote some like cultural products. So my question is, also you mentioned this also the way to empower local communities from the individual and also community levels. How can you share a little bit how this kind of like ethnic group, they are becoming more precious about their cultures? Can you share a little bit about this? Thank you.
Okay, to be simple, encourage the local people recognize the value, especially the economic value of this traditional kind of culture. Because most of the time, the local people in China abandoned a culture or received the culture. Most of the time, they based on the economic value. This first case, and sometimes it because of their livelihood. This is most important, because it's kind of a way they make a living. More and more young people make a living based on modern tourism products, modern kind of jobs in the tourism industry. But the traditional culture loses the value for livelihood. If that's the case, nobody wants just conserve the culture. So if we let them recognize the value of traditional culture for livelihood, that will make them more and more interest, more and more based on this kind of culture. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. And the last question by Christine.
Thanks a lot for this inspiring presentation, and also for showing some very beautiful places in China. You mentioned the importance of the management part. Do you know more or less, or what would you consider is the cycle, the planning cycle in years or months, or how long are you normally planning in advance to put these things in, or to put the different processes into a harmonized order? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It means that the kind of cycle in tourism products history in that place. Yeah. In China, because even we talk about modern tourism just about 40 years, you know. So if we talk about this kind of unique market tourism products is around about 20 years history. So right now, even some new kind of tourism products such as cycling, hiking, or adventure tourism, maybe just about 10 years history. So my research usually is based about 20 or 30 years observation in that place. So in Zhangjiajie, the case place, the hiking or cycling tourism is around 10 and 15 years history. So in the early stage, because of pioneer the local people, and then because of kind of business model, more and more people try to do the place. It make it popular and popular. More and more tourists go there. Right now, maybe it's about 10,000 or 20,000 tourists like this in that place. Thank you.
Professor Taylor Zhang, that was an excellent presentation. Thank you very much again. This was really, really great.